Hi guys, Will Terry here, and I am so excited to be able to talk to you about this video called Most Illustrators Won't Be Able to Hashtag Draw 50 Things. This has been a long time in the making, and I'm just going to dive right in. So one of the things that happened to me when I was young, starting out was, and I'm showing you this image right here, I was never, and I've talked about this before on the vlog, I was never the best illustrator in my class. In fact, I was middle to medium low, and I'm talking about in college and in high school. And I was given this assignment right here that you're seeing in front of you right now, which was, let me just zoom out a little bit here if it'll let me. I guess it won't let me. Don't you love the Microsoft Viewer? What a piece of crap. I should probably edit that out, but I'm not going to. I couldn't figure out how to draw these characters. I actually dug this out of the garage. I've got it right here. I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to zoom in right there. Those characters right there. I lifted those from a children's book because we had to do an assignment called Old King Cole. We had to do the fairy tale, and I didn't know how to draw. I didn't know how to generate a character from nothing. And I also didn't know how to design a complicated image. So I just basically copied. I copied the king, and I copied these, and I got an A. Did I feel good after I got an A after plagiarizing someone else's work? No. And I mean, I traced those little characters. And I realized, like, I had these feelings like I don't belong. I'm, a lot of the other people in here can draw, but I can't. And I was kind of hiding out. And part of the reason was I didn't have a good process. And I also had to do a illustration in my junior year called The Battle of Brunanburh in Scotland, which was basically, think Braveheart, right? And I had to do a battle scene. And, the battle had hundreds and hundreds of characters in it. Or you had to give an indication that this massive battle was going on in your illustration, even though you needed to have a focal point. And I blew it. And I went out in my art files in the garage and tried to find it. And I couldn't find it. I think I threw it away. But it was horrible. And when I say horrible, like it was, that's probably one of the reasons why I threw it away, because of how bad it was. And as I, over the years, become an illustrator, I realized that part of being a teacher is I have to break this process down to explain it to my students how to start with a blank piece of paper and end up with a well-designed, composed image that you basically generated out of nothing. And the thing that the message I want to give people is, if you follow a process, you can get there. But you have to know what that process is, and you have to practice it. So that's when, and I'm just going to go through some of these pictures here. That's where I came up with this Draw 50 Things, and I'm calling it hashtag Draw 50 Things because I want to brand it with the hashtag so that people will use that and share the art that they come up with. So basically, in this video, I'm going to explain what this is, and explain how you can do it yourself, explain how you can take advantage of it, and how it can help you. So the first reason for being able to do something like this, the first and foremost, most important reason is that art directors and editors are asking for complex images, either with crowd scenes or scenes that take place inside of a library, or a toy store, or a candy shop, or something where you hear the assignment, you hear the what you're going to have to be doing, and it kind of scares you because you think, oh my gosh, that's complicated. How am I ever going to show this and show all this stuff? So I had been giving this as an assignment. Now this is the actual image that I created for the Draw 50 Things challenge, but and this was a long time coming. I've been giving this assignment to my high school, and I'm going to go over the assignment in a second, but I've been giving this assignment to my college class at UVU for the past 6 or 7 years, and learning how to do it better, learning how to try to break it down better each semester, and trying to help my students successfully achieve this goal. Now, in this image right here, I put 100. I think I counted 116 objects in here, and I did that just because I wanted to pack as many as I could, just to show that it's possible. And so I've got like vintage toys, like I grew up with the Evel Knievel motorcycle and the Rock'em Sock'em robots, and there's just little things hidden throughout that I was able to kind of put in here. I've got the little alien from Toy Story, and some more current things like BB-8 hiding down there. And anyway, just having basically a lot of fun with this assignment. Okay, so I'm going to show you when I give this assignment in my class. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll say we work up to it. We start with 25 objects and we work up to 50, which is, I suggest, is a great way to tackle this if you're going to try it on your own. I'll give my class an in-class assignment to basically draw a garage. And now keep in mind this, the student only had about an hour, maybe an hour and a half to work on this in class. Just put as many objects as you can into a garage. And this is typical of what most people do in the beginning before we really go through process and how to do it. This is typical of what will happen. And what you'll see here is that every object in here is almost the same size, right? And there's very little organization. There's very little overlapping. There's very little cropping. It's just basically a mess of objects that are kind of thrown in there. This was one that I did for my class, just as an example. A few years ago, I did one alongside them in class. And I think this was, again, another like an hour exercise. The thing, the thing, and I'm going to go over the rules again, but the objective is to have clutter, or to have a lot, not clutter, but to have a lot of objects, but to have one main focal point. So if you look at this one right here, what is the main focal point? And I hope you're thinking the cat, because that's the idea. And again, in the class that I did for SVS, I've got all the tips and tricks on how to do this in there, how to get that main focal point and how to maintain that amongst all the clutter. So I think if you count up the objects in here, there's like 25 in this bedroom. And that's basically the assignment I gave him that day, was draw a bedroom where the cat is the main focal point. This is another one that I did with this assignment in mind, although I think I only got 30 objects in there, or 30 animals, which animals count as objects, right? Here's another one I did with about 30 different objects in it, and kind of for the same class. But the funny thing is I never really had time to sit down and do the 50. So I was always kind of doing 25 just to show them, like, you can do 25, but then there would always be an assignment or a project that would come up and prevent me from just sitting down and knocking out the 50. So then I did overkill. I got like 116 in mind, just to show that it's possible. And this is an image for our creative composition class that I did, again showing one main focal point, but a lot of complexity in the image. And that's when I think, as an illustrator, you've kind of made it, is if you can handle that kind of complexity and not let your illustration look like a mess. Because that's what typically tends to happen, is that you include all this stuff, but then your illustration looks like camouflage, or it just looks unorganized. And remember, the essence of design is reduction, is simplification, and order. And so that's what we're basically looking for. And you'll get, as you work as an illustrator, as you work into getting assignments, or as you get more assignments or better assignments, there will be art directors, there will be editors that are they're scouring the internet looking for illustrators who can handle the assignment, who have the style that they're looking for, or a unique style that maybe they didn't know they were looking for, but that is really exciting to them. And all of a sudden they want to hire you, but maybe the assignment deals with a lot of complexity. And if you're not able to demonstrate that in your portfolio, you could get passed by. So that's why I say this is a very important exercise to be able to do. Here we've got one main focal point, a lot of complexity of characters in the background, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 characters total. That would have freaked me out. Now that's only, so this is 14 objects if you count the robot. But 13, if I had received that assignment in the first 5 years of being an illustrator, there's got to be 13 characters in it. It would have freaked me out a little bit. This is an image from one of the students in my class who was definitely one of the better ones on the Draw 50 assignment. And this was the final that I give them, by the way, and they have about a month to complete it. And I did a little paint over on his, because what's happening is, remember, we're trying to maintain a really solid focal point. And while, the foreground area right here is the focal point, it's also getting kind of mixed in with the background. So I did a little paint over that looked kind of like that to really pop those characters off the background. So again, this was the original, and then this was with the paint over. Now, I have a friend named Guy Francis who, and I will link, if you want to see him, because he's a really funny guy. I actually made a video with him a few years ago, maybe a year and a half ago, and I'll link it below. So you can get to know him. But he's an illustrator. He's a really good friend. He lives a few miles away, and he's doing a series for HarperCollins right now called Clark the Shark. Maybe you've heard of that one. But he actually did this assignment, and when I remember going over to his house and looking at these, thinking, man, this would make a great assignment for my students, because this was something that I couldn't do when I was in school, yet when I got out of school, there was a need for it. So he illustrated this book called Mrs. McBloom, Clean Up Your Classroom, I think. And he included all this complexity in there, just all these different objects. And he had to do it on every page. Now, if in his portfolio he didn't already have stuff like this, which he did, he probably would have been passed up, and it probably would have been given to someone else. So, he designed all these images that basically just have tons of objects, and you can go through and look at all the objects, and you can identify them all. And so that kind of gave me the idea to give this assignment. That, plus the fact that I couldn't do the Battle of Brunanburh when I was in school, really frustrated me, that I just basically gave up on that assignment. And so did a lot of my other classmates. Here's another image of his from something else. Okay, and then here's one from Jake Parker, who also does SVS with me. And so you'll see, like, if you talk to a lot of professional illustrators, they could pull out illustrations that they've done that have a lot of complexity to them. Maybe they don't have 50 objects, but my feeling is, if you can do 50, you can do 100. If you can do 50, you can do 40 or 30. It's getting to do 50. If you can do that and still maintain that one main focal point, that's where it's at, and that's when you know that you've really reached kind of the ability to design basically anything, right? So let's go to. I'm going to go to our website, svslearn.com. And if you haven't been here before, we do tutorials and live classes. Here's the new Draw 50 Things challenge right here. We've got all of our other classes down here. If I go in here, I've got the challenge written down here, which is basically design an image with one strong focal point with at least one figure or animal, and that's probably going to be in the focal point, right? That tells a visual story. Include 50 different recognizable objects in your illustration. Now, you got to know, it's funny because I put this on Facebook and I had a few people say, gee, I wonder where you came up with those rules. Well, my students at UVU, you guessed it, they really helped me hone these rules down, because when you're a student, you're always looking for, it's a game, right? When you get an assignment, it's like, tell me what the rules are so I can play the game. So were my students bad in trying to figure out ways around the assignment? No, they're acting like anybody else would. We always try to find the path of least resistance, right? So, but they hone down these rules so that it really kind of forces you to do it. So rule number 1, you can't count items that are attached to the interior or exterior of a structure, such as flooring, cabinets, signage, roofing, windows, shelving, fences, trees, etc. Basically, the idea is if you need a tool to remove it, like a chainsaw or a screwdriver or a hammer or a crowbar or anything like that, you can't count it. The reason for that is I had students so they do a bedroom. Well, then they'd count each drape. So there's 2 drapes, one on each side. They'd count that. They'd count the blind. They'd count each piece of wood going around the window frame because they're like, that's an item, but it was nailed down. So they'd get a window in there and they'd end up counting 8 objects for one window. Or they'd put a person in there and they'd count every article of clothing and they'd end up with 12 objects. Well, that defeats the purpose of the assignment. So you can't count things. So like for a light fixture, it's attached. You can't just pull it off. Could you count a lamp? Yes, because it's not attached. You don't need tools to take it off. But the light that's attached to the ceiling, you can't count that. So number 2, you can repeat objects like candy canes or heart boxes. You could repeat books on a bookshelf, but you can only count 1 book. And the reason for that is I had some students just putting a bookshelf in and going, well, there's 50 books there. Done. And it defeats the purpose of the assignment. You can't count parts of an object. So a cupcake it's got the cup, the little paper cup thing, and then it's got the cake, and then it's got the icing. So you might be tempted to say that's 3 objects. Nope, it's 1. So you can't count multiple parts of an object. It's just 1 object. So a car is a car. It's not a metal body with rubber tires, and the steering wheel. And you get the picture, right? And the 4th rule, the last one, is in order to be counted, any person looking at your illustration should be able to count up all 50. So in the past, when I've done the 25, and that's why if I go back in here, on this illustration right here, I'll give you an example here. I've got these gold coins. Well, I can only count 1 coin, even though I have a ton of coins. But I put like 30 or 32 or 33 objects in here because I knew that my students would look at something and go, well, you can't count that. I can't tell what it is. So I have extra ones. So like I'm counting the bowling balls right here as 1 object. I'm counting the barrels as 1 object. The crab, the starfish, the sword, the bat, the ship, the boat, and the oars are separate objects. I'd count those separate because they're not attached to each other. The spider. And I'm counting 1 crate. But if students, we have a good time in our class, and sometimes they'll say, well, you can't count that. So I'd go, okay, well, I was going for 25. So did I still make it? Yeah. I count the bird. I count the ring. I count the goblet. I can't count the hat. The hat is part of the clothing of this guy, and I can't count it. Now, if he were holding something like the goblet, or if there's something on his shoulder, you could count that. Okay, so I think that you get the picture on that. So a lot of people have asked me, is there a deadline for this? No, this is an ongoing challenge. This is, whenever you do it, I would love to see it hashtag draw 50 things, because I'm going to be checking that hashtag and showing off artwork when other people do it. I'll be using them as examples in my class. I think it's a good way. What I'm hoping is that art directors will start finding that hashtag and using it and checking out who could handle doing something complex like this. That's my hope if it can get big enough. So I'm really hoping that you guys will do it. Let's say another question I get is, what if I've already done it? Then yeah, hashtag it and throw it up there. Again, there's no deadline. So this is just, there's no rules other than, as far as the hashtag goes. If you wanted to hashtag something that had fewer than 50 things, I don't think anybody's going to complain. And I'm talking about like hashtagging on Instagram and Twitter, obviously, right? So let's see. Oh, another thing is, I would love you students, if you're in an art program somewhere, or if you're going to art school, or if you're in high school or junior high, I would love it if you would challenge your teachers to do this. They should be able to do this. And if not, they can come in and watch the videos that I've set up for this. Here, right here, you can see, this is some video from the class right here. And, I broke it down into basically 13 steps so that you can have a process to kind of follow. And it's easier to do something if it's broken down rather than trying to do everything at once. So like, and I like to use the example of a golf swing. You know, a golf swing really has like, there's probably like 30 things you have to remember to do when you just swing the golf club and hit the ball right. But your teacher won't tell you to do all 30 at once. They'll give you, you know, get your stance right, get your legs in the right position when you address the ball and things like that, and practice on just little things, just little steps like that. This is some of the video in the class, and again, some people won't need to take the videos, but or the tutorial, but it's there if you feel like you just don't know how to do this. That's why it's there, and I really hope that it can help people. I hope that it beefs up your portfolio. And the reason for the title of this video, you know, most illustrators won't be able to hashtag draw 50 things. The reason for that is because most won't try. It's a hard thing to do, and most people spend their time. If you look at most people's portfolios, it's filled with characters or close-ups of simple concepts or simple, not concepts, simple compositions, where people just do some. I mean, and the other thing is, when you're sharing on Instagram, if you're doing some fan art or you're doing characters and stuff, they tend to get more attention. You know, this is a thing that tends to get forgotten, and then, you know, people will wonder, well, why am I not getting hired to do stuff? Well, if your portfolio is filled with simple stuff, and a lot of the assignments out there deal with the complex, that's the reason. So most illustrators aren't going to have this in their portfolio, and you can really set yourself apart by doing it. Anyway, that is hashtag draw 50 things. Go out there and make great art.